All right, so wheel number 1 is coated, set up. Make sure you want to try to make sure it's as, it's hard to do it level by hand like this, but I want to make sure I have a good, even, level finish. Let it cure for 10 or 15 minutes, and then we're going to wipe it off. So I'm going to set this one aside while I prep the next one. Then we'll bring it back up here and wipe it off. Okay, so we got our wheel coated. Now we need to wipe it off. And so I did the inside first. So let's just wipe it so we have a nice even finish. And then after I'm done wiping, we're going to let it cure. So I'm going to go set it on the side and let it cure for a few hours. And I'm going to come back over this again by putting another coat of Kamikaze Miyabi on it, which is their other coating product. So really, I'm not buffing this out super hard. I'm just removing any high spots, any excess product. So I'm using constant pressure. All right, so let's get our light out here. I don't know where the heck my flashlight is. It's inside somewhere. So let's do this. And I just want to go over it, making sure I don't have any high spots. Looks good. Cool. All right, so that's wheel number 1. Let's get you a different angle on wheel number 2. All right, so let's see. Let's get in a little tighter here and get a little bit different angle, just to kind of show you how this goes. And it really doesn't have to be. It's not rocket science here. We're just putting some stuff, some product on the wheel. So, when I'm saying words like constant pressure and, fancy buzzwords like that, it's one of the nice things about this product versus a lot of others is that it's a much simpler application process. Where you just saw on the other wheel, you put it on to the best you can. And then you come back and wipe off the extra if there is any. You just don't want to cake it on here so that it's so thick that it leaves crazy high spots. The trick is some of these spots you can't really see what you're doing. You find it? Yeah, buddy, nice. Thank you, sir. Later. Let's remove this, make sure I got all the cracks here along the back side. And then I want to get this as well. A little bit of a high spot. Alright, so let's flip it on its face. Notice, I'm applying. It's not an exact science, but I'm applying some more of the rim coat to my applicator every so often. And I'm just going to work sections So these little sections are just going to split up this time, and usually by the time I get to the last wheel I have a pretty good process down. So this wheel I ended up doing a little bit differently in that I just IPA wiped down the whole thing, because if there was like a little bit of dust that seemed to be lingering after using just the eraser on the face. So wheels, I think it's a lot easier to miss a spot because we're dealing with all these little sections, these little areas. So that's why I think you want to take a little extra care and do it one section at a time. And then this applicator and towel will throw away. I'm sure you could wash it in some APC or something like that, but why take the chance? So again, my process here is I'm doing prepping a wheel. I coated the first wheel while the coating was curing or drying. I guess you could say not curing, but drying. I was prepping the second wheel, and then after the prep on the second wheel was done, then I'll come back and wipe off the drying coating on the first wheel and come back and repeat. So now after I'm done putting this layer on, I'll prep the third wheel, taking the stickers off, wiping it down with IPA, rinse and repeat. Alright, so I made it all the way around. Let's get the center section here. I think the key with wheels is just to stay organized, so you're not missing a bunch of spots. Okay, so I'll set this aside. Figures I just cut my fingernails this morning. So you're gonna remove all our stickers. Dang it, fingernail. I got the Auto Finesse Obliterate out, works way better than the Griot's adhesive remover. I'm going to talk to those guys about bringing Obliterate over, because I really like it. Alright, so that's removed. Let's get our IPA. Flip it. Again, you always want to be careful with, although I've never, before I knew any better, I wiped everything down with straight 91% IPA. But I think you want to be careful with that. That's my disclaimer to you. All right, let's try a little different procedure this time. I'm just going to get a new set of gloves. So let's do this part first. And we'll do the barrel. And because I got this wheel prepped a lot faster, I'm giving that other one a little more time to dry before I wipe it. So I'm going to finish the inner barrel here, and then I'll come back around and wipe the other one down. I don't really like this bottle. I can't tell how much I have. Yeah, this is much better for this part. Getting it covered evenly. All right, so let's set this aside for a second. Let's grab our other wheel. Let's remove any excess. There's not a whole heck of a lot of excess, and that I think is one of the virtues of Kamikaze. Some other coatings is that it's just way easier to work with. You lay it on, make sure you didn't cake it on. That's about all you have to do. You're good to go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and apply it to this, which you've already seen me do. I'll come back to you and keep you updated. All right, so let's do the center caps real quickly. The last wheel over there is curing. And then what I'll do is I'll let it sit for a couple of hours to cure before I put the second coat on. So these are also powder coated. And there's some oil on these, on the gaskets, so we need to make sure we clean these off pretty well. All right, so let's wipe this. Fresh product, and then we can ditch this towel because I'm done with the stance coat. I mean, I guess you could put 2 coats of stance, but it recommends 2 coats of this. So actually, I'm not going to do the Miyabi. I'm going to do 2 coats of stance. That'll also eliminate me having to open up the Miyabi bottle. And I can really see over time how the stance coat does. But I'm still going to throw this away and use a fresh applicator. All right, so I'm going to let everything set up and cure for a couple hours, and then I'll come back to you and talk through a second coat, and then we'll finish up this project. All right, so what I decided to do, I went and watched a couple of videos, was thinking about it a little bit. I'm going to do a second coat in a couple of hours of stance, and I'm going to lay it on pretty thick, and then I'm going to let it sit for 15 minutes and then wipe it off. And the reason for that is, stance is higher temp rated, and so if I put Miyabi on top of this, it probably won't last very long. So I'm going to do the stance, second coat, then I'm going to follow with overcoat a couple hours after that. That's my plan. I'm also going to get out the calipers for the Stop Tech Trophy, so I'm going to get those out here in a minute and do those as well. And then we'll be done with the project. Because what happens when the force pulls you back, your foot naturally comes off the gas. You have to keep your foot to the floor.